Hello, welcome to this Modurol video. This is video 48 in our series of XK8 videos detailing how we converted our Jaguar XK8 from automatic to manual transmission. In this video we're going to perform some testing on the manual control module before we do the complete changeover to the manual gearbox and fit it. So these tests are some basic tests for the operation of the manual control module. So the manual control module has been supplied by Glenn Nelson in Texas, USA, and the idea of this control module and the loom is to convince the car it's still got an automatic gearbox. So this basically emulator will give out the CAN bus signals the car is expecting. So in order to get some confidence, Glenn's completely sorted out for this 1996 car. He's already got his car sorted. It's a 2003 4.2 litre XK8 with a slightly different CAN bus signals. And he's got his working, but we need to be sure there isn't something slightly different on this 1996 car that he hasn't already resolved. Okay, so let's have a look at these three tests. So the first test I'm calling basically TCM faults, can they be cleared? So the idea here is we're going to pull the TCM fuse so it's out of commission, it breaks the CAN bus link. We need to turn the car into normal position, then start the car, and we should trigger a lot of faults in the major instrument pack, and then basically replace the fuse and make sure they're all clear. So this basically is a test to make sure that the car is seeing the transmission control module, and when it goes missing the faults appear and then we can actually clear them. A fuse puller you'll find in the boot lid fuse box, behind the lid of the boot fuse box. So you should find a set of spare fuses, which is handy, and a fuse puller. We're going to pull the main transmission fuse, which is here in the engine compartment fuse box. Again, fuse number 1, 10 amps in this case. So we'll just remove that one. There you go. So I've pulled both transmission fuses, transmission control module fuses, and then we'll try and start the car. I got my foot on the brake. Oh, I've already got a gearbox fault. Any other faults? Okay, I've stopped the engine now. I've got the gearbox fault, and I've rigged up a little fault code reader. See what fault goes. I've got 1 fault and 2 pending. Let's just scroll down there. So we get P0560, P0560 pending, 1643 pending. Okay, let's have a look what those are. Okay, so I've looked these codes up. P560 is low system voltage. Just a sec. Which is both lit and pending, and 1643 is a CAN bus communication error between the transmission control module and the ECU. Obviously that's because the transmission control unit's got no power, and that is basically triggering the gearbox fault light. Let's see if we can clear these. Okay, let's try again. I've reinstalled the 2 fuses. Foot on the brake. Okay, and we got no errors. So that gearbox error has fixed itself straight away. No issue. The second test actually involves plugging in the MCM and without starting the car. So we're going to plug in the MCM without starting and make sure there's no faults. So we're going to pull the TCM fuse again, so it doesn't talk to the CAN bus. Connect the MCM as per the connections, gear selector, park brake, not in park, sport switch. Apply the handbrake, make sure the J gate is in park, connect the monitor to the OBD2 diagnostics port, turn the engine on and opposite, do not start. The car should perform its startup, system test, your light should go out, car eventually should have the trouble light because the engine's not running. The MCM should function normally, the monitor should show 0 RPM, C gear and PJ gate. There should be no faults on the car. So this, in theory, should start to prove the MCM is giving out the signals to avoid the faults. Turn back off the car, back out the MCM, and then reset it, see if there are any faults in the OBD2. So this testing verifies the MCM CAN bus functionality with no faults in the car. Okay, so I plugged in the gear selector, the neutral switch, sorry, not in park, which is this central connector, I believe. I've rigged up the handbrake, that's on the handbrake switch. I've removed the seat and the sport switch. So let's turn it on. I'll show you what we're getting. So immediately getting gearbox fault, but it clears as expected. I'm getting the check engine light. The MCM monitor seems to be okay. If I check the MCM, so I'm not, the handbrake is off, but I've got the handbrake light on for some reason. That handbrake light seems to remain on no matter what, so I'll pull the handbrake on. You'll see the MCM will sense that now. So the parking brake is on. Also the sport switch, there's no light on it. I think you've explained the reason for that, but it is working on the MCM. So I think that's a success. Okay, this is just about the brake light. So if I check it now, sorry, the parking brake is off, but I'm getting the on light. I'll put the parking brake on. There's no change on the light on the dash, but the parking brake is definitely on. Take it off. Definitely off. So the switch is working, but I'm not getting the dash light changing. Now if I disconnect the circuit to the MCM, the light goes off. And it works as it should. So if the MCM is plugged in, the light is constantly on the binnacle. Once it's disconnected, it works okay. Once it is connected, it actually works okay on the MCM, but somehow it triggers the dash to be constantly on. Testing the voltages on the handbrake switch. So the handbrake is showing off on the instrument panel. The switch is in the handbrake off position. We're getting 12.27 volts. I've earthed the other side to the chassis, even though it's off the car. So if I now take this off, connect the MCM, and check the voltage. The MCM's connected. Check the voltage again. Oh, 4.2 volts. So Glenn, you are correct. The voltage is dropping.
4.2.
The third test then, basically got to do all the same things as the previous test, but connect the rotary connector and actually start the car, and it should verify the MCM CAN bus functionality with the engine running with no faults in the car. Okay, so I've jacked the car up on our wooden blocks so I can get underneath and try and find the rotary switch and the socket that we need to plug into. Let's try and find it. Okay, I'm under the car, and you can I've traced the wires. The rotary switch is just behind here. I've traced the wires up on top of the gearbox, and you can actually see, I can actually see the connector right up there. I can see that. Try and focus on that. It's right up there. Can you see that with the wires? Obviously, I've got no chance of getting my hand in there at all. So we're not able to connect to that. So ignition on. MCM and monitor all good. I'm going to push the pencil in. Try and force the MCM to read. Okay. I've got that reading, and then I'm going to try and start the car. Foot on the brake. Car starts okay. It's showing that on the MCM. Monitor seems to be working okay, 1100 RPM. Jaguar in park. Not quite the same. Oh, RPM has dropped. So there you go, car starts, and we have no gearbox fault. Okay, just checking the RPM idea. Is it restricted to 3000 RPM? Everything's running okay. Let's rev it. Wow, this sounds sweet. But there's no restriction at all. Yeah, there you go. That's all 3 tests done. I think we're pretty much good to go to remove the gearbox and put in the manual. Obviously, you've seen I put it on top on the blocks, and this will be high enough, hopefully, to remove the gearbox and take it out. So I don't intend to take the car off these until the job is done. There are a couple of things that came up. One was the handbrake. We have since, Glenn has since advised I need a pull-up resistor to help with that. So I've ordered a 460 ohm resistor, and I'll wire that into the switch live of the cigar lighter. The other issue was that actually this whole process took best part of a week on and off communicating with Glenn Nelson in Texas. But interestingly, there is somebody else doing a manual conversion with Glenn at the same time. His name is Stuart Connell, and he's actually doing a conversion of an XJ, a 308 Jag, supercharged, an XKR. So, and he's going to use Glenn's MCM as well, albeit the program is subtly different. And Glenn is in the process of refining that with him now. So we're actually pooling lots of different resources to get the manual conversions done on Jaguar XK8, X100s, and XJs, X308, normally aspirated and supercharged. What's really interesting at the moment is there's a lot of interest in manual conversions of the AJ V8 in various guises, albeit X100, X308, X150, etc. And it's pretty clear that Glenn Nelson's MCM can give us an alternative solution to an aftermarket ECU. And we're working together to make that economic and very doable for a hobby enthusiast. So the idea of buying a kit of parts and doing it yourself is becoming more attainable. Now, the one thing Stuart has suggested is a different method for mounting the gear position sensor. If you've been following our channel, I've done quite a lot of work on an external mount, but he's got a really great idea and I want to pursue that. I really love the idea of a group of car guys working together to fix problems, and that's basically what's going on here. So if you want, or you have interest in doing a manual conversion, we're very close to giving you a solution, albeit something you can do yourself. If you want to find out more, you need to tune in to the next episodes. Anyway, hope you find that interesting. Obviously, the MCM works. All we've got to do is fit the gearbox now, and away we go, in theory. Thanks very much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more XK8 videos. Bye-bye.